eyes on pretty much the performance level.
What's up, motherfuckers?
Performance level of Caps.
We motherfucker back
today. Who are we going to see
G2
step up?
Top
Will
Esports.
be a decider for one of our two teams today.
So much of this series feels a lot.
The God tier bangers.
The
God tier bangers.
Mid lane incredibly strong on one side, AD carry incredibly strong on the other side. But I have a feeling with the amount of cooking that G2 can get up to, that might be the difference maker. And I love this already. Top Esports, they have done their due diligence. They have banned the I don't know what it was with never banning Mickey's Poppy, but it should have started way earlier than this.
Yeah, and it's going to be the Orianna as well. We were chatting backstage, very much.
This is exactly the bans you said were going to happen.
And I think they make sense for the Poppy because more than likely it's going to be a Kalista.
Very interesting bans for TES. They saw the G2 series against Faker, and they saw how Faker got dumpstered by all three of these picks. So they're like, we're going to protect Kremmy because Kremmy is magic.
That is unexpected, because like you were talking about, Dagda, I think the Lucian ban is almost a necessity. I thought that that was going to be a big reason why it was going to be a difficult series for G2, but instead...
As a Kalista's up and Lucian's up, so it's going to be the...
Paris will be locked in, so we won't even be dealing with it, of course. Top Esports not too worried about the Hans Sama Lucian this time around.
It definitely feels like a test on both sides, though, where you're looking going, hey, are you going to be able to pick up the Lucian now, Hansama and Mickey? Is this something that we really have to worry about? Personally, I don't think they do. But it's definitely kind of a call-out from Top Esports saying, look, we're happy to just take the Varus. Are you going to pick up the Lucian, or are you just going to go for the Kalista instead?
I mean, so far, Hansama has prioritized the Kalista primarily to give them push and control over the bot lane. We've seen G2 really willing to fight these teams on the bot side of the map. My concern for G2 comes from this Tristana Maokai that we saw from the sports when they played.
I
mean, fun fact, Cream hasn't lost on Tristana this year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be taken away by G2. I think that this is such an important pickup because Cream, I think, has been struggling a little bit this MSI to find his form, figure out what champions. We know that he has the Ahri in his back pocket to bring out, but in the Gen G series, his wins were on Tristana and Corki against Chovy, of all people. So I wonder if their priorities have shifted, and G2 seem to have identified that and want to take the Tristana away.
I am curious, though, if they were hovering the Lee Sin there, whether it would be the Lee Sin Ahri and they just play for that hyper-aggressive mid lane, but it looks like Cream going to go fall back to this Azir. It was the other pickup that he really had in playoffs that was one of his big proponents, so not fully surprised to see him go towards it. And if you've got that push on bot side coming through from Varus, and now potential some control coming through from the Azir in mid, Xin Zhao a good opportunity to look for some of these early skirmishes and play off that lane push.
I feel like the map has to be a high priority here for G2. It's the very common pairing alongside the Tristana to try and guarantee a little bit more AP damage in the composition. G2, though, maybe they're telling us that they have more in the back pocket in terms of what AP champions they can play as the Leona is locked in for the first half.
Yeah, this has been something that Mickey's gone back towards. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think there's a lot of answers to it that can set up, even if you want to look towards something like a Thresh here for Mako. He's been excellent on it. The Alistair has been excellent for Mako as well, so you definitely want to try and put some attention into support bans, as you can see here with the Brom already taken away from G2. And if I'm Top Esports, as you say, I think I start to look towards those AP junglers to ban away. You could always fall back towards something like the Jax or something for Yike, but you definitely want the AP jungler like a Lilia or something along those lines to be the first port of call here for Yike.
I still think that Maokai is probably pretty high up on that priority list, but we'll see. The Lilia is in the minds of Top Esports. Maybe this ban is just them saying, yes, we have done our homework, by the way. Like, most of these bans feel pretty targeted. But I do like what G2 has in their hands.
4 members have had one target ban.
Whether that's one that's going to get banned away
on
right
G2.
now.
4 members have had one target ban. They banned 3 of Mako's picks. Actually, 4 of Mako's picks.
Sense into these melee champions like the Leona. Now what's going to be the final jungle battle?
And one Jaggy of course, yes. Normally I said as a support, but
Maokai would be the obvious choice, but we know that G2 likes to cook. What have they cooked for us today? The Vayne ban heavily suggests that Top Esports is looking for a blind Cassante. Will G2 want to grab the Cassante now for themselves and actually save jungle for the end? Or perhaps they want to guarantee a counter pick for Broken Blade in top lane?
Well, I was going to say, I think BB's looked great on the Twisted Fate, so I'd imagine you take your AP jungler here and then leave that potential counter pick where you just take the Twisted Fate on the opposite side. Unless 369 is thinking, hey, I can just try and swap
a different
Ivan.
Okay.
A bit of an Aljoya shout out from Domestic, but we know.
I mean,
that was a big
it's
enthusiast
double
as well. Something we
ADC,
haven't
so
seen at all here at MSI, but again, with double AD
that
carry,
makes
it makes
sense.
a lot of sense. Very
Makes a lot of
supportive,
sense.
great
Just
skill,
auto with Wyvern shield
utility.
is.
You've
Just
got
auto with
good
Wyvern,
games
bro.
with Fiona. You can clearly tell that G2 play
Bruh,
more
just
like
like, what's that?
Double AD carry is gonna be triple, because if Twisted Fate's locked in as well, then that is a lot of stand-in brush and get some value. I reckon. Kind of like the idea. That's the Cassante that we were expecting. Understandable here. Top Esports with
Kevin.
one of the most cookie-cutter MSI 2024 drafts that we've seen.
They need a front line.
G2 a little bit more off the wall.
Broken Blade can't play
especially
TF.
with Ivan now long-leggedly making his way onto the Rift.
Yeah, especially if you look at Top Esports when they're able to go for a poke Varus and the Azir. I do like the Ivern because you can get that early redemption, you got a lot of shielding, so you can try and dissuade some of that poke. It starts to come through early, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the TF coming through here. It's actually something that we did see a lot from Mad Lions in Domestic. Would not going to be the case.
Okay.
Yes!
I don't know if I like this. Like, Camille is a very dive-centric champion against things like an Azir and Varus.
Hey, lock him down and the rest poke him out.
Lady carry. You've got an Ivan. Is diving necessarily the goal, the game plan? Maybe if he wants to try and split Top Esports up, who's going to be playing a very traditional front-to-back composition. I was expecting more of a front line to be able to better facilitate these AD carries, but G2, they want more of a sideline threat, maybe more of a 1-3-1 comp with things like the Tristana and the Camille at their disposal.
And I think it is something that can work well against Top Esports. Top Esports like to get control with Jackie Love and then try and play a mid-centric off of mid-lane pushing, but if you completely control side lanes, it can be very difficult for you to get that control for Top Esports. We kind of saw it a little bit against Gen G, so or at least G2 bringing out some nice little creativity, which is much needed if you want to try and take.
I'm hype.
And this is what we were asking about earlier on. It was, can G2 cook their way through this series? And I think they've already started. I think the kitchen's smelling pretty good. We'll just have to see whether it's going to work out here in.
Now it's all about execution. Can Yike perform? Because he's been one of the worst performing junglers this MSI.
How this one's going to go. Let's
What do you mean?
dive onto the
He hasn't landed a smite.
Number one, G2
against good teams. He's gotten smitten out.
MSI up against Top Esports, who are looking dominant. It's a frightening one, gentlemen, but I think judging by this draft, we've got exactly what we wanted out of both of these teams. Right?
I mean, I will tell you right now, if you'd asked me last year or any other years prior to this one, Broken Blade picking Camille, how do I feel about that into 369? I'd be very concerned. But he has pleasantly surprised me at this tournament.
Oh, yeah.
I did think that he had an overall solid year last year, but coming into this matchup, I was not expecting top lane to be a big win condition potential for G2.
Yeah, and I think that speaks volumes to the training that BB has put in behind the scenes. He's talked about it at length in interviews, saying, hey, we brought in Alfari, wanted to make sure that I could up my laning phase and make sure that I am really a threat when it comes to the 1v1, and I think he's been exceptional so far. We saw the stats for Zach earlier on, Atlas. You were giggling at the 80 carry level of damage that he was producing.
Yeah, what was it? Something like 750 DPM, which is a decent stat. Like, Jackie has highest in MSI right now, and he's on 800. That's only 50 behind this guy, Zach. Oh, it's silly. It says a lot about Broken Blade, also says a lot about Zach. And was banned this time around, so won't have to deal with it on the Top Esports side. But the problem is, if there's more things that they need to focus on, especially after a game like this, it'll be more difficult, as Cream already just taking a fully stacked explosive charge. And that is probably not the way you wanted to start the laning phase.
Definitely a rough start for Cream. If you wanted to work with Mako to make sure that you could clear out this vision, to deny information away from G2 as to what Tian was up to, but Mickey was actually there to assist, dropped his ward as well, so they will be able to garner that information unless Tian is able to navigate his way around that. We keep our eyes on Yike, starting on the bot side, pathing up towards top, of course. He's going to be setting up those camps to be able to secure them later. And the beauty of this Ivern is if you're left uncontested, you're able to get that quick clear throughout all those camps, and you can be very active and spend a lot of time just roaming around and working with your team.
Well, we've got a Zenith Blade in towards the bottom side of the map. Mickey trying to keep them at bay, but Hansama taking so much damage. Jackie gonna have to back away as Mako's flashing. Immediate flash to follow from Hansama, and there's first blood in the 2v2. This was a Top Esports win condition, and they're getting crushed.
This is not the way it's supposed to go at all in the bottom side of the map.
My bingo card's upside down.
Hans and Mickey. Getting the 2v2 first blood is huge because we already looked at mid. Caps having that early advantage.
Oh, we knew
He overstays trying to fix the wave. He believes that Hans and Mickey have gone back to base, and the Hex Flash catches Jackie off guard.
Sorry, is this Hans and Mickey or Hans and Ignar?
That's what I was thinking.
Fervor Leona's back, baby!
Yeah, I don't know what Jackie was thinking there, because I think we all knew that it was going to be a Hex Splash angle in theory, but wanted to try and get as much of the farm as he could. Caps now able to get himself out of there, does manage to get that rocket jump off. Good Wind Becomes Lightning from TN just to make sure that he gets a little bit of damage down, and they do manage to at least make things okay in the mid lane, but the bottom lane is on fire.
So both teams actually hit level 2. Well, actually, Jackie Love and Mako a little bit after. Good job on Mako to help secure that for his team. Initial promising trade onto Hanson, but then he creates enough space from Jackie Love, uses the cleanse to dodge the ignite as well, and then the flash commit from Hans. Nicely secured. Means that G2 get themselves a 2v2 victory, and it's not just one, it's two.
And you can see there, because you end up cleansing the ignite, it works out super well on the bot side. But now top end, Yike.
Yeah, Yike turning up. 369 seeing whether he can get himself out of there, is not quite able to land it. And 369 will be okay, but does have to use the Ghost.
But this wave is in a bit of an unfortunate spot for 369. Really would like to get a crash, so you can see BB going to start to clear out some of these back minions, so they maybe can look for some sort of freeze, but yeah, it makes it difficult for 369 to step up. This is a very explosive early game. I was not expecting this to kick off the way it has.
Yeah, it's almost feeling like it's a little bit upside down, right? Because Cream had a decent push in the mid lane a little bit earlier on there. Now Caps actually being able to take a little bit back. But with the bottom lane going so well for G2, I think that this game is feeling much better than even they were probably expecting.
What's crucial now is jungle involvement on the bot side of the map. There are no summoners here at all. Top Esports can quite easily swing this matchup if Tian can find a nice gank. And that's why being able to control this wave is going to be super important. Broken Blade, he's not too concerned. You look at the vision on the top side, he knows he's not at any risk of a gank right now. He should be able to secure this without any real threats. As now, the gank we were talking about appearing in bot.
Yeah, there it is once again. Yike turning up, and Hans Armor here.
Let's go! Shit all over Jackie Love! Shit all over Jackie Love!
Great CC.
Scheiße, Jackie Love!
Because you can see where Mako was positioned, he'd set up for the play, but now BB needs to get out of here.
369 going aggressive, does get him a nice little shield there, does Broken Blade. Now underneath his turret, Tien just biding his time, finally does just hold that wave, looking to get that crash. So under 200 health, let's see whether Broken Blade can keep himself alive. He's just going to try and deny the assist, and that will be successful at least.
It's all you can really do in that situation. Doesn't burn the flash, knows that he doesn't have the slingshot available as well, so just decides to back it on up. G2 will get Dragon in response, but at least it's something back for Top Esports.
I mean, G2 need to be concerned about how strong this Cassante could become later on. We saw how they were able to manage it when they played against PSG. The beauty of this Tristana is you are able to shred through those tanks, so they're definitely going to be less concerned as the game progresses. Cream relatively low as Mako now coming over to cover.
Yeah, Caps just continuing the push. Mako just lying in wait, seeing whether he can stay out of fog of war for a little while. Will eventually just walk up to the wave. We have a look. There is an Ivern in the wings. Not going to be needed just yet, though, just getting a crash.
I think it's a good call, though, to come in towards mid to get Cream the reset, because Top Esports really want to try and be able to contest for these Void Grubs if they're going to start to be taken. So Cream getting that quick reset off means he'll be able to come back into lane first. You can push out, which is why you're seeing G2 immediately start up the Void Grubs, because they know if Cream gets that reset in, there's no way they're really going to be able to contest for this.
Right now, the bottom of our screens is littered with Red's advantages. Outside of that kill that 369 was able to find, Hansama often finds himself on the weak side. Right now, it's to help secure the grubs for his team, which they should be able to lock down.
Yep, Tien does get the bad news that they're being taken, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything about it. Although G2 are giving a lot of respect here.
Caps had to go back to base.
Yeah.
Dagda was just talking about it, right? The fact that Cream was able to come back out on the map means that they should be secured for Tien.
Hey,
At
I
the end of
mean,
the day, G2's not too upset about that. If they can get 4, then their sieging power is already going to be enhanced. If they're able to get 5, that'll be even better, of course. But first Dragon secured for G2, 2 grubs off the back of that, they're not going to be complaining.
Still though, Hansama now alone in this bot side will give a little bit of push power to Jackie Love, so he's able to get a place. Realistically, I think you're going to be looking to see how Yike influences on the bottom side of the map again, because with Dragon in 3 minutes time, I think you kind of go for a full clear, reset, and then look for a play on boss, try and burn a summoner spell on Jackie Love before Dragon comes in.
Oh, 369 going aggressive here towards this top side of the map. Doesn't find the third Q. Still goes all out though. His hook shot. Max range there from Broken Blade gets him out of there just fine. In the meantime, here towards the bottom side of the map, you've got more action. Zenith Blade gets Mickey in there. A lot of damage onto Mako, but it's returned onto Hansama as well. Yike coming down. Trigger Seed not going to land.
Jackie Love is 1 minion off of 6. If he had had that in that last fight, that could have been a one team fight, or a one skirmish, I should say, for top esports. G2 playing within a very narrow window, and you'll see as he secures this minion, that tick over means this forest is now a lot more threatening.
I think it will give good advantages to G2 though. With the cleanse being down, you've got the opportunity for Mickey to try and play for that on a repeat play, and especially as he starts to tick over to level 6 himself, I think that's where we're really going to start to see that aggression come in on the bottom side. And let's be real, BB, yes, he's behind at the moment, but he's fine to just continue to farm up and get to his 2 items as Cream.
Yeah, going in aggressive, not really finding too much there as Cap's able to whittle in a few more auto attacks. Explosive Charge going to even out the trade very nicely for the Tristana, and Cap's continuing just to farm things up in the mid lane, ahead by about a wave.
The only downside for Cream is the Vamp Scepter pickup from Caps is going to give him so much sustained paired alongside the Fleet Footwork. Means that he's going to be able to ramp that back up. Mickey, of course, as we know, the primary carry in the bot lane, gets funneled that gold, as you would expect. 1-0-2 scoreline for him. But G2, a 1k gold lead, I think to the surprise of many, given that 2 out of the 3 Analyst Desk members did predict Top Esports to win. They did expect a close series, so perhaps not that much of a surprise, but we'll see if Top Esports can bounce back. They clearly aren't too concerned about the deficit they find themselves in now. The Dragon spawning in a minute's time. Caps.
Oh yeah, Caps just going to have to buffer the rocket jump. Does so very nicely halfway through the Emperor's Divide. And now Daisy's going to make her way out onto the mid lane. Still Caps going to have to flash into the Buster shot. Doesn't even get the auto off. Oh no, and now Creamy could be in trouble. Yike looking for another one, and there it is. Hansama locks down the kill. Has to flash, but that'll get him out of dodge. And G2 had just taken names all over the place.
I didn't even know that was possible.
And that was like 3 in a row of things that shouldn't have been very possible.
Caps? You flashed the dash? You then knocked him back when he tried to flash over the wall and auto you? Like, what the hell was that?
I don't know what you mean. I was expecting this from Caps all day long.
Yeah.
It's just another Wednesday for Caps, I guess. Yeah,
I think it is insane, though, to see how well this man is playing. Because when you look back at last year, the confidence was completely gone. But this is the most confidence you can have as a player. Buffers the jump. Then as they start to come through, TN does end up hitting the Wind Becomes Lightning, but Caps is kind of just waiting to bait because he knows that his bot lane is on the way. Flashes over the wall. Buster shot because he still keeps the vision because Yike is over the wall. And then the slow from the Seed, the shield, on the Yike, on his ultimate there, on Daisy, ends up setting things up perfectly.
While that was happening, of course, 369 forcing the all-in against Broken Blade. This 1v1 not going the way that Broken Blade would have liked. Of course, conceding that early kill, giving that early armor over to 369 is working out very nicely for him. Mako might be in a bit of danger.
Going aggressive. There is the Shield of Daybreak onto Mako, who's now taking a lot of damage as that explosive charge does go off. Cream, though, full health off to the side is going to mean that Mako will survive for the moment.
Yeah, I'm looking at
this Borg?
Because it has just spawned. You can see G2 trying to get control of the area. Hansama playing aggressive on bot side.
This looks like a Borg first time on
Tristana. Be a little late, but no flash on Cream does make him quite vulnerable in these plays. So I think Top Esports going to have to try and play very safe for their mid laner. You can see they're trying to do just that.
Yeah, Mickey moving on in. Gets a whole bunch of information, but not going to look for an engage just yet. Arrow going to go wide. And the Dragon has been continued here by G2. They retain control.
BB's TP is just up slightly before 369, so if they've time to ride his G2, they should be able to get BB into any sort of fight, which is why Dragon has now been started, and the push on mid, our bot side has been gained.
Yep, BB also now just turning back up in lane. TN trying to figure out exactly where that Dragon is. They are now looking for the rear exit. And TES will make their way forward. Okay, Daisy getting involved first as the Dragon going down very low. In goes Mickey. Solar Flare is going to land. There goes the jungler. Immediately TN is dead, and now Jackie in the background.
Jackie's getting Maka chocolate! Let's go!
He's going to finish up a bunch of extra kills. Hansama gets his
saw them perform against T1, but now showing up against top esports as well. They're playing incredibly.
I mean, Hansama silencing a lot of the doubters right now. 4-0 and 2. We look at the initiation.
But to be fair, they just have to pick away to Kalista. Hans hasn't looked good on anything but Kalista.
Caps locks onto his target. He sees Jackie Love, eliminates him, and then it's just a cleanup.
And it's again where we kind of look at Tien on the non-tank kicks, and he's not able to get his ultimate off. He thinks he's able to tank that a little bit too much and ends up going down as a result. And on this, Xin Zhao hasn't really had the impact that you would want in the early stages and ends up losing out now on the Dragon fight as well. But Mickey and Co on this top side, 369 is so low.
Hookshot not quite going to get the stun onto 369, but Mickey and Hans just waiting in the wings, just looking to get some extra plates before they do wear off. Only 30 seconds left on those, and they will be able to grab a few last-minute ones.
So the swap coming through from G2, as you rightly said, Atlas just primarily looking to funnel some plates into this bot lane. A 1.9k gold lead for Hansama, going for the Blade of the Ruin King build that we often see him go for. A 1k gold lead in mid, and G2 overall 8 kills to 1. When I think back to that series against Gen G, when Jackie Love was put behind, Top Esports struggled to put up that same level of a fight. He is kind of their pillar, their superstar, and obviously the rest of Top Esports can have games that they don't rely on Jackie Love to win, but putting him behind never really helps them.
But 369 isn't going to be great either.
He's not going to be having the greatest of times still. He's Cassante, so struggles to be in too many dangerous positions, just with the fact that he is that champion.
I mean, if you can get this Rift Herald as G2, this ends up worthwhile. You're going to get the top tower in a little bit. You'll be a little bit behind the temple in the play, but Rift Herald means that you can probably blow up mid as well with the damage that Caps has done onto that mid lane structure too. And when you think of what G2 wants to do, which is, hey, we can skirmish, but play for a 1-3-1, getting these opportunities to get things like Rift Herald is going to be really big.
Well, they are going to be able to set up for it. That is the Rift Herald going down. Yike collects the eye. And they should be able to use this to break the mid lane outer turret you would expect. G2, I do like the amount of win conditions this composition has, because you can play for side lanes like you were talking about, but I do really like their team fight as well. The amount of pick potential on a single target is just ridiculous, and that starts all of those resets going. I think in 5v5s it works out, and in the split push it works out, and having multiple win conditions is always so strong in League of Legends.
But also, the great thing about Ivern is, sure, you provide a lot of utility, but Daisy's just a good frontline.
Yeah.
Right? Like, people like to ignore her, but if you do, she just is annoying. Like, she's like a mini Cassante in a way, because of
she stuns you up, she slows you.
Mickey and Yike that can play this
we shield heals.
Caps and Hansama aren't at risk of getting dived, which against this comp from Top Esports, they're not. Like, you're right in that G2 just have a lot of freedom, and Top Esports have some elements of scaling because they have the Azir, but I think the longer this game goes on, the better it is for G2. And
also just the lack of control that they really have over the middle wave is doing so much for G2. Caps constantly having push, leaning into his side lanes is making it really tough for, you see here, Top Esports to defend these outer structures. Jackie Love and Mako weren't sure whether they needed to assign themselves the mid lane to protect the push from Caps or protect their top lane turret. So G2 doing a really good job of playing off their lane states right now.
369 going aggressive. Yike going to turn up in the nick of time though. The hookshot comes down. There's the Hextech ultimatum Q. That's going to get him out of there with the all out. As now 369 just going to get taken down. Tien going to get the flash out from Yike, but that might be all he gets as Daisy's getting amongst it. Now Caps will finally turn up. The ultimate's going to be there, but it's not going to save anything. And there's another beautiful buffer from Caps.
This man is so good at the game!
Trying to protect their top laner, trying to turn something around, results in another 3 kills for G2. Incredible positioning from Caps. He plays the team fight perfectly, and he wipes Top Esports off the map once more.
And now you've got 35 seconds until the next dragon is up. That's going to be third dragon for G2. And honestly, with the Rift Herald in tow as well, you just get to reset, spend all the gold you picked up, come back out onto the map, threaten this bot tower and the mid tower at the same time. G2 are smoking Top Esports in the early stages.
It's a near perfect game.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I'm going to need to go and find Spawn, because I know he's here. He's the one that defined shellacking. And I think that we're pretty close to shellacking territory, and that's not what I was
402, 402. Yeah, Tien not on attack, man. Doesn't look good. I'm sorry.
Close at all.
I mean, I think
Yeah, should have just locked in the Mao guy.
Not to talk past this game that much,
But
but
the Sejuani.
G2 have introduced another curveball with the Ivan. You know, there was the Rek'Sai, there's the Zac, there's all these picks that teams are finding ways to deal with, the Poppy being the other big one, and now they've just introduced another one.
I thought that was a Fate's call, but it wasn't. He was just going
curious how
the
Top
Rift
Esports adapt as the series goes on. Of course, they still have a chance in this game. It's not all doom and gloom, but as we did mention, the scaling still feels like it's in favor of G2 the longer this game goes on.
The big adaptation I want to see is... Oh, hang on.
369 could be in trouble yet again. Broken Blade, though, not quite winning the trade just yet. Needs this Tristana to turn up as Rocket Jump just to get him amongst it. Q going to miss, though, thankfully, because of a hook shot, and Broken Blade gets out. And that is another kill. In the meantime, Hansama, he's dead on this bottom side. Yikes on a killing spree, though, because Cream has also fallen down. Mickey diving in one more time. I'm not sure about that.
What?
But he's battling.
Whoa! Ah! No way! Bro! Bro, no way!
Find themselves with only a jungler.
You G2 don't care! G2 don't like that, you can have!
Ace them.
G2! That's 2 supports! You're not supposed to fight with an Ivern and a Leona!
It's 25 stacks!
They make it work! They get the kills! BB comes in to save the day! And G2 are taking over everything on the map. Caps, though.
Yeah, that buffer not quite working out here as 269 does have his claws in the Tristana. There's the flash. The Mega Cone should get the Tristana out of there, and it will.
G2, though, finding fights across the board. Caps moving up to help support BB on the top side play, prevents
That's a 25 stack Ivern! Bro, this Daisy hurts!
But with Cream coming in over the side, there's nothing that he can really do. Good ultimates from Mako to lock down Hansama. But now this is 3v2 with 2 supports and a Daisy. The Rock is doing so much work.
The damage from Daisy's just crazy, isn't it? The fact that Mickey goes back in is just to buy time for the Camille. I was not expecting him to then also get a kill, but once Broken Blade arrives, it's just cleanup for G2.
Yeah,
The Yike play on the blue?
I think even if that teleport wasn't happening, if Mickey knew that he was just able to kill him, probably still worth. I don't know, I'm never doubting the man ever again.
The fact that you have to ban Poppy and Leona against Mickey is potentially a little bit of an issue, but I mean, this is just great from G2 again. It's focusing on, hey, how are the...
It's almost a 4-item Ivern! It's almost a 4-item Ivern, guys! This is insane! This Ivern's healing and shielding is one off the charts, and 2 has 25 stacks on the matches!
So much damage across so many of your lanes.
He has like what? It's 8 AP per stack?
We have a look at the state of the game. It's 3.5 minutes until the next Dragon. Top Esports. We're grouped towards that bottom side, but I think this Baron is going to be the next port of call for G2. They're so far ahead that even though it is very early in the game, it is still going to be something that they can look towards, especially with the composition that they have. How many stacks are in that Forbidden Book that Yike has purchased, by the way,
25.
guys?
There are 25 stacks.
That's a pretty large amount of stacks.
That explains the damage now.
Yeah, how high does that go? I'm
25.
Sure. Yeah, it's 25. Okay, good. Okay,
yeah, his novel is finished, and he's about to read his holy scriptures to Top Esports. That tower slowly disintegrating in front of G2 as a hook connects.
Yeah, that is going to land onto Caps. He still has the rocket jump available, uses it after the depth charge, and now you can see Mickey absorbing so much. Fate's call was always there though, so G2 not going to have to live without their support as Broken Blade here towards the bottom side, just keeping the pressure up.
Great interrupt from Mickey on towards 369. 369 has the curfew, but
Solar Flare gonna land right into the middle of Cream.
We'll fix the quality after the game, guys.
You know, shifts some sands, gets himself out, but
they don't get to break. They don't get to pass go. It's been a bit of a mess here for Top Esports.
G2's getting everything. Top Esports tried to find a pick. It didn't work out, and now the Baron is being started.
So they're not only splitting, but they're also threatening the Baron. 4-man strong on the objective. Vision now does go over to Top Esports, so they know not that there are pushes everywhere. In goes Cream, finds the Mega Cone, but Caps has once again buffered the rocket jump. He goes golden to keep himself alive, and now it's Top Esports finally finding themselves a team by Caps. He just cannot auto in the fight. BB wants to get one back, and he does kill Jackie Love, but that should be the last of it here as Top Esports will not go down without a fight.
A massive blunder from G2. Broken Blade should be able to get away with his life, but by forcing the Baron, Yike actually gets taken out at the start of the fight. Some great team fighting from Caps, and Broken Blade keeps the Baron from being taken, but Top Esports showing their resilience in this game.
Still, they're going to lose an inner turret here as Caps just comes on down, takes that one out. And now a teleport forward as Broken Blade looking for TN. Mako is here, lands himself the hook. Caps now looking for that flank angle as TN's going to have to get over the wall. Broken Blade gets in there though. And Cream now doing battle with a Baron and a Broken Blade. 369
what is going
a little
on?
bit far away. And this is, I don't know, guys.
This isn't over. Caps has TP. They're just going to come back to the Baron. They just killed the jungler.
Wait, so that was the plan all along? Is that what you're telling me?
It's our plan.
It's definitely our plan.
And at least it is now, because top esports look just about as easy as we are.
Tian tries to steal a red buff, and he loses.
The fact that Jackie Love had to get a Serpent's Fang second item means that he's going to have no damage.
Caps on the flank as well means the G2, they got what they wanted. The Baron is secured. The Dragon Soul in 30 seconds.
They're up 4 turrets, 10,000 gold.
In mid lane, take down inner turret.
Yeah, that's a little disgusting. This Tristana is huge.
Jungler and take a free Baron.
League of Legends 101, my friend. Textbook as all hell is yeah, I mean, look, this was a little bit of a whoopsie from G2. The fact that you get to kill off the Ivern nice and easy.
Okay, but now Tristana has the LDR, so Cassante is going to melt like butter.
So much time to keep Caps at bay. They're able to deal with the rest. Nice job here by Broken Blade.
Dodges the wind. Dodging the wind becomes lightning was crucial.
Back in is really what salvages that play. Gets the kill on TN. Works then with Caps having the teleport himself. So
Captech Soul is going to be insane on this team.
G2 able to make it work.
Yep, now they're just looking for a soul. This should go their way as well. It's a 10,000 gold lead at 24 minutes. Tien gonna get Hextech ultimatum, but does immediately break it. That's just not gonna be enough to get him out of dodge though, and Broken Blade gonna grab that kill. Jungler goes down, Drake is gonna be secured here. And now we got 6 minutes until an Elder as G2 walk down with their cool new Chemtech Soul.
And what the hell does this mean for the series now? Because you got what you want at top esports. Jackie Love on Varus has been your bread and butter. Cream, one of his champions that he does enjoy is this Azir, and you've got a Cassante for 369. This has been the go-to for top esports for the majority of the split. And now they look dizzy. Like, G2 have completely wiped them here.
I think there's a certain Yordle Gunner that I think is going to have a little bit of higher priority as this series goes on. We know it's so good for Cream, and Caps is just having a day out on the Tristana today.
Let's not forget that this started with a Hans Summer Mickey X 2v2 straight up kill. 2-0 is how they started this.
I don't have anything for that. Like, that was not on the bingo card. It's not. I'm not ready to talk about it.
Like, don't get me wrong, that no one expected this series to start off with Hans and Mickey straight up 2v2 killing Jackie and Mako. Jackie, he's got to be really careful here. But he has had zero impact in this game. That last team fight was very nice.
I mean, he's 3 items, yes.
The fact that they were able to one-shot Yike and
but he had to get a Serpent's Fang, so
they've got to be thinking about
combat-wise, he's not very strong.
Still 30 seconds left. G2 have strong siege, and they set their eyes on the first inhibitor of the game.
Yeah, I think the thing I want to see from top esports is, you know, a little bit of adaptation on the top side. We've seen this Cassante for 369 a lot. But, oh, actually, hang on.
All right, yeah, Emperor's Divide is going to put, I believe that's Caps, underneath the turret. He survives for a long time, and now Baby makes his way in. They trade mid laners, and G2 are now running amok in the team fight. Solar Flare going to slow down Jackie Love for the moment, and G2 continue coming forward. Top esports going to have to give up their base structures here, as there's a minion wave in mid lane as well. It's going to be an inhibitor on the top side, and yes, you managed to kill Caps, but that is all they're going to get, as G2 will destroy their base. There's another Zenith Blade in as Mickey tanking a couple of turrets. He doesn't seem like he minds about it at all, as he's now just backing away. Fate's Call isn't available, and so he did actually have to walk his way out.
But hey, it's okay. You got Caps.
I love the resilience that we're seeing from top esports, still able to
for pack your base.
We look back at this, Caps pushing alongside Mickey. Okay, Caps, that was all right, Caps. He tries to insec Cream. I mean, he makes it happen, I will admit. But you can tell that Caps is in a good mood when he's making these sorts of plays. He knows the gold lead that they have, and his teammates are there to back him up.
And the thing is, like, as soon as he makes that play, Cream puts himself in a dangerous position as well. And if you're going 1-for-1 and you're this far ahead with every other lane at the same time, it's definitely a good news story. And as you can see, the base in absolute tatters. G2 now moving towards his bottom side. 369, he might be Cassante, but I don't think he's getting out of this one. And Caps, wow, okay, yeah, that's a, well, not really.
That's 4 armor items on Cassante. There's 3 armor items with boots.
Caps has
That's
one of those,
12%
and
auto attack reduction
well.
plus
I mean, you don't really
80%
have
physical
any other
damage reduction.
backup tank.
Like,
yes, you've kind of got Mako, but
what else do
when
you
you're only
want from
10 versus
Caps?
this
What else do you want from
all-powerful G2, how do you
369?
try and defend
That's
it?
just a really fat Tristana.
Notice Broken Blade walking in the mid wave as well to add
And there's
some
no
extra
Randuin,
pressure,
so-
trying to split up the wave clear from top esports. Broken Blade even threatening an end on this Camille. Here they go.
Yeah, there he goes. They do manage to find the stun onto Cream with the Solar Flare, but the Zenith Blade is going to miss. Hook from Mako, though, puts him in, but out of threat for the moment. And G2, they're just going to be focused on making sure that this is as impossible as possible to actually defend the siege.
It's a minute until Baron as well, so I think G2 just keep conga lining these minion waves in and they can fall back
Okay,
to it,
last ditch effort as the teleport is coming in. Mako does find himself a hook, but Mickey immediately executes him. Another phenomenal buffer here from Caps with the rocket jump, and now getting himself into position. Hansama's the one that's able to take down the tank, though, and I think G2 are just a little bit too far ahead. These wallets are so heavy, and they're going to use them to knock down these turrets and take game one in the series.
Caps is styling on with them with the rocket jump. It's a stylish game for G2, and just like that.
Let's go! That was amazing, beautiful. I couldn't ask for a better G2 game. Holy fuck! Game 1 of the series. I am wet, critically moist, everything in the Halululu, Balulu, Jalulu. Oh my god.
Bottom lane,
Oh.
kill. From
Game
that
2.
point on, it looked all.
Alright, here we go, Game 2!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Cost Death for MSI 2024, and G2 leading the series 1-0 thus far. We're diving back into the draft once again, and no side changes or anything like that, and we'll see whether this draft is going to be different. And already Ballista taken away, and the Varus going to be the response as far as that ban.
They're not going to give Jackie Love that power pick. Remember that the Ashe was banned in the previous game along with the Rumble. One of those two is not going to make it through this draft.
Also curious to see what happens with the Orianna Poppy, which one actually slips through the ban phase now. I'd imagine it's probably the Poppy, especially with the Kalista already taken off the board, but I think the Orianna for Caps has just been so good. I mean, Cream already was struggling against the Trist. I don't know what way you want to go, but they are okay. Gonna let it through.
They're fine giving Caps the Orianna.
Mickey with a wry smile.
I think Cream, remember, he still has the Ahri that he can always bring out as an answer potentially to the Poppy, but the Ashe is going to be banned, so the Rumble going to be left open, and it's Jackie Love, Straven. I mean, the audience erupts as they should do. The man, one of his signature champions.
And it's against Hansama, who's also, it's one of his favorites as well. And the Cogmore comes out once again.
What?
We did see the Cogmore already, but it was with a Renata. That's what I hated about it. I kind of like the idea of going back to this Cogmore Braum that they have really enjoyed.
Last year at Worlds is the last time we also saw this prior to this tournament, but this was something that they brought out domestically at times. I don't know how I feel about it yet. Let's wait to see what the rest of the draft looks like as Top Esports is hovering the Corki for Cream.
Yeah, I mean, especially when the Draven was something that Gen G struggled against into Top Esports. Jackie Love was able to have a great performance, so now I'm just super interested to see how they're going to try and plan out. But Corki, is it going to be the Orianna, or do you just go back towards the Tristana again here for Caps and keep what worked for you as G2?
I actually kind of like the idea of going back towards the Tristana, but Nautilus going to be locked in alongside the Draven, something that Mako has been pretty good at in the past, or we're considering something else. Of course, both Yike and Tien finding a fair bit of success with the Jarvan, and Jarvan will be locked in for Tien this time around. A different bit of a Demacian flavor in the jungle.
I do think it's a good shout because the Cogmore are going to be quite immobile. If you can actually almost sacrifice yourself as the Jarvan in the later fights, prevent the Cogmore from getting in to the equation, it's going to work out pretty well for Top Esports. It's just a case of now, do you go for the Orianna and have double immobile carries, or do you go back towards the Tristana, which I think is the right call, just giving yourself some mobility so both of your carries can't be locked up.
I mean, Ivan has to be banned, right?
Yeah,
I mean, because this is...
They have to choose a tree and ban it. And that's what's going to have to happen here. I wonder whether the Lilia priority will still stay high here for Top Esports as well, because that was their first ban in the second round last time.
Right, well, let's see what G2 choose to take away. Support still up. I don't think they have to be concerned about a Nautilus ban, given that they've got Braum.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Rumble, I think, makes sense. They were already scared about it after game 1. They banned it in the first rotation. This time they're moving it to the second. I'm wondering, is Renata something? There's the Ivan ban that we were talking about, but Renata is a possibility. Rakan, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think you're particularly worried about any support, to be honest. I think that's kind of the nice thing about Braum. Unless you're looking at like some sort of enchanter, but Draven with enchanter doesn't really work.
Draven Zyra sounds like it'd do all right.
Oh, that's an old school one.
Yeah, but I think you're in a pretty good spot here as G2, so I wouldn't be surprised to see top esports just continue.
How crazy is it that every game G2 somehow draw a new ban? You know, like, it's like, Ivan's ban percentage just shot up significantly just because it's now been played in a single game.
But I think that's always the beauty of G2 at International, is that they're willing to bring out these more abstract picks and make sure that they're able to work in different scenarios, and they will find ways to make them work. But what will work now for G2?
I mean, it's looking like a Maokai, right? I feel like, Your engage is a little bit limited, but still, Maokai ultimate is really good. Your siege is still really strong. You've got scaling elements on your side. I mean, I like Corki Jarvan from the side of top esports. Maybe they want a little bit more dive. Let's see what direction they go with next.
This is, of course, one of Yike's favorites as well, the Rek'Sai to be locked in here. And not giving away too much as far as what this composition is going to look like in the end, but still waiting on Broken Blade's pick. Very surprised. Wow, yeah. Is this the 7th game for 369 on K'Sante so far this tournament? I think it might be. Definitely has been favoring him quite a lot.
But the thing is, we've already seen BB has answers into it. Got the Camille, the Twisted Fate was not picked up in the last one. You still have a lot of answers, and at the moment, Yike has the control that you want in the early stages with this Rek'Sai to be able to interrupt, to cause a lot of backline threats. So I think you're relatively happy here as G2 if you want to go for a Camille with the double dive, or even just have a more kite-back comp with these long-range rapid-fire cannon TF stuns to enable the fight for you.
Forgive my ignorance, but does Renata ultimate get blocks by Braum E, or does it just go over it?
Ooh. I think it goes over it, as far as I know.
Because I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Very spicy draft.
See the interaction, but I was wondering to myself, why wouldn't G2 want to ban the Renata? And maybe it's because they think against the shield wall it would be fine. But the Twisted Fate gonna come out. So again, G2 going with a multi-carry threat approach. Funnily enough, coming into this tournament, the team that I would associate this playstyle with was T1. They were the type of team that would always like draft multiple carry lanes, always have multiple threats on the map and multiple win conditions. And G2 taking a similar approach. The second game in a row that Broken Blade is being given a carry. Last game he was a little isolated, but at the end of the game he had done the most damage in the whole game. He was a menace. And G2 are now once again going to have these side lane threat options. Tristana, a good split pusher. Twisted Fate, a good split pusher. They're front to back, I think, weaker than what we saw in the previous game. But top esports, I think, with a lot more dive on their side. Again, with a very similar front to back approach, though.
I do like the non-committal engage that you have from G2, though, where you can play for long-range rapid-fire gold cards. You can try and fish for a little bit of damage coming through. And as a top esports, you have to kind of all in if you want to get the real value from your composition. So jumping into the Rek'Sai, jumping into the Braum is actually going to make things a little bit more difficult for top esports.
A very different look in both of the sides of the draft. Going into game number 2, we'll see whose adaptation is going to reign supreme. I think most of the MSI audience here right now are looking at Jackie Loves Draven, thinking that that might be the ticket to an even series. But G2, I do like the amount of enable Mickey that they have in this composition is absurd. And we know that Mickey is just going to go in as often as he can. Engage Braum, we hate it as LCK commentators. We've seen it attempted many times, but I kind of don't mind the vibe. As here we are, onto the rift for game number 2. Top esports once again on the blue side. Now looking to change how this one's going to go. Cream looked great on the Corki in their series against Gen G. We'll see whether once again that is going to be the case, as already getting a bit of that first strike value.
You can see the crowd naturally incredibly enthusiastic. There are a lot of G2 supporters in this arena, by the way. And we've had already, we were just chilling in the break and we had like a bunch of different fans coming up like, G2 3-0. And I was like, not what I was expecting, but okay, cool. Yeah, so the crowd is incredibly excited for all of the plays that are happening today. We're gearing up for a banger. I'm excited to see what Top Esports can do. Gen G found a way to handle Jackie Loves Draven. Hang on.
Well, see whether this is going to be the answer, and I think running away from it is a good idea at this point in time, as Mickey already down to 50%. Hansama has pressed W, but that's all he's really able to do. That is going to be a great trade to start things off here. And Top Esports feeling good about how that bottom lane has started.
Yeah, the fact you already have the Braum low and had to burn a pod is going to be massive. Even Mako getting that ward into spot exactly where Yike is going. It is responded on the opposite side thanks to Cap, so going to be a lot of information as to what junglers are up to in the early stages of this game.
Now, the last time we saw Hansama bring out this Kog'Maw, it didn't work out against T1. It was game 4, and basically G2 had no early game options at all. They slowly bled out. They lost all of the early objectives. And as you can see in this bot lane 2 versus 2, it's already going in the favor of Top Esports. As you would expect, double range matchup into more of a scaling defensive bot lane matchup. But Top Esports are going to be eyeing up potential dives. They're going to be looking to stack up waves, early level 2, early level 3, into a bot lane threat dive potential. And it's something that G2 is going to have to respect and look to play around. And bear in mind that Yike is pathing towards his top side. He started his bot side camp, so I'm really curious as to if Top Esports will do anything in the early game to try and punish this Kog'Maw pick.
I think as the game goes on, it will get slightly easier, because I think Cap's having as much control in the mid lane of this Tristana can lead to him leading down bot, but 369 already not coming out in the favorable side of these trades. On the top side is BB getting a good amount of damage there.
Yeah, it looked a little bit dicey for a second there, but BB able to find the gold card just in the nick of time. Big wave stacked up here towards the bottom side. Not looking like there is too much of a dive coming in here, though, as Yike on vision. That one from Mako, pretty good ward.
He's spending a lot of time just covering for a potential bot dive. This wave is going to be thin enough that the bot lane of G2 aren't that concerned anymore, which is why he can feel safe going back. But you now look at the camp discrepancy that's starting to come through. Actually, I say that, Tien actually completely skipped his walls, getting over towards the red buff first. They're stacking up another wave now, still only level 2. They need that level 3 to increase their chances of surviving the dive.
Well, Nikki puts up the door as Tien getting some information here. Know exactly what's going on. Does G2? We'll see whether they can actually survive this one already. Hansama, some decent damage coming down as the Void Ooze comes on through there. Great flash to avoid the flag and drag. And now Mako, he's not going to get bailed out from this one. And Mickey's diving forward. Caps, he's going to get interrupted though. Can't find the rocket jump in. Still Tien, he's going to get stunned. Manages to get out with the flag and drag. But they ain't going to keep him alive as it's a double kill for the Kog'Maw. And Hansama once again picking up first blood.
That's crazy.
Across the line in the bottom lane.
The Unbreakable with the bait on towards the dive means that they're able to turn that around. That's 2 kills now. Yike covering mid. Caps is here though. Cream just wants to try and push him out of lane.
G2 do everything perfectly. It's absolutely insane. I can't believe what the fact that Yike even caught the mid wave to make sure the Caps doesn't lose anything. Mickey's trying to clear the minions as quickly as possible. A good flash from Hans. Mickey is holding on to the shield for as long as possible. Mako oversteps, and then look, the shield comes out right now. Once the flash is committed, Mickey doesn't lose his life. Tian has now overcommitted, and then the double flash in from Hans and Caps means that they get the double kill. Jackie Love now with no summoner spells means that G2 have a 1k gold lead already.
And the fact that you get to accelerate this Kog'Maw with both kills is Caps has Mickey.
It's still going. Winter's Bite is not going to connect, but that is still a flash down on the Corki. And G2, once again, just dominating in this early game. It's a 1,000 gold lead. That is decent, especially when you've got a Kog'Maw composition.
And you haven't had to even get Yike involved. Yike actually just gets to get ahead because he went topside, cleared out his camps, whereas as Vedi was talking about, you saw the Raptors and the Wolves skipped by Tien.
Look at him again. Now Yike said, oh, not involved. Well, I'm back this time.
Exactly, yeah. There's so many spells, I like it.
And the wave is naturally pushing towards them. They're going to play the long game. He's managed to sneak into this ward as well. Will Mako read the play?
Jackie does have Cleanse. That's not going to work when the Rek'Sai is unburrowing. Does manage to get the knock up onto Jackie Love as now Mickey just in the front line, puts up the door. Jackie Love going to be able to cleanse that one, but that is no summoner spells left remaining for the Draven. They really want to kill him though. Getting rid of those stacks is huge here because Jackie Love remains a win condition while he stays alive in this game as Caps is going to get a decent trade onto the Corki in the mid lane. And in the meantime, you've got an all-out getting a flash here for 369. feeling strong in the top lane.
Yeah, Broken Blade being forced to play on the weak side is struggling a little bit in the 1v1, but that doesn't matter. In terms of gold, he's still staying very even. Tian makes his presence known on the bot side of the map once again, clears out the vision as Yike is forced to clear out his topside camps, but he's going to be able to path back towards bot. Remember that the grubs are now still available. I'm sure G2 would love to get them, and as I say that, screw the camps, Yike makes a beeline towards those grubs.
Yeah, they really want to try and get the grubs, but I think they still need to try and kill JackeyLove. Although we've got the Summoner Spells out from JackeyLove, Top Esports can still find that one kill, get all those stacks, and suddenly JackeyLove is an absolute menace once more. So, although G2 have some control on the bottom side, they're not quite out of the woodwork just yet.
124 adoration stacks already for JackeyLove, as Yike is going to secure the third grub.
Yeah, we'll be able to take that one down. Burrows his way out of Destiny.
He's going
as
back
Yike says, all right, I'm coming back in again.
But hang on, the bot lane of Top Esports is here.
Yeah, that is going to mean that at least they're not able to go aggressive onto Tien. I don't think it is going to mean it's going to be too much of a fight. As the Scryer's Bloom spots out where this bottom lane are. So, Mickey going to be Caps' support for a moment, as the bottom lane once again going to head back down.
So, we get a breather.
Yeah.
In a tense moment, and we think back to when Top Esports played against Gen G, and again, when we think back to those early games in the series, JackeyLove made life so difficult for Gen G. He would get so strong as Caps.
Not going to get hit by that rocket, but that could have been really, really bad if he did.
Caps is really feeling it today. But Gen G kind of did their homework. They looked back at that series, and they came into this series today, and they were like, okay, so we're just going to try and make JackeyLove as miserable as possible. And we think back to the BLG final against them as well. Elkin on, working with Shun to just perma-dive that bot lane. G2 understood their assignment as Caps.
He just dies! Alrighty! He had Buster Shot, he just wasn't able to use it while he was dead. As in the meantime, here on this bottom side of the map, Hansama with that W running, doing a fair bit of work here. There's the stun! The living artillery! Is the bailout going to come through? No, it's not! And once again, the Top Esports bottom lane are losing to Mickey X and Hansama, and they are looking for even more. There's the stun, the living artillery through again, and the minions not going to take down the Cogmore.
So, the bot lane for G2 looks at Caps and says, all right, look, don't worry, we've got this, lad. We're going to bring it back, but this is
all of my notes are on the wrong sides.
But this is the thing, like, the Cogmo Braum was the pick for G2 for so long. This is what they played with last year over the course of winter, perfecting this kind of late game scaling, but the threat in the early game has been huge, but now Broken Blade will have to pay the price.
Yeah, Tien back up here once again as 369 closes the gap. There's the all-out, pushes Broken Blade against the wall, and he'll get knocked up and taken down. 369 grabbing a kill there as Caps continuing to do battle with this Corki in the mid lane. Probably a little bit more apprehensive now.
Top Esports doing what they can on the map, which is find a punish on top. We look back at this 1v1. So already Caps is at a health disadvantage. Cream sees a window to fight, and Caps says, oh, I can just jump over this. No, you can't, good sir. But we look back at this bot lane 2 versus 2. Level 6 for Hansama, and Mickey says, you know what, we can actually fight this. He mitigates so much of the damage with the shield. The heal comes out from JackeyLove. But because of that Q connecting from Mickey, my God, Mickey.
Yeah.
He received so much criticism in summer for his play, but he is having an incredible tournament. And against Top Esports, he is absolutely popping off.
But it's been back to comfort for Mickey, right? You're like going towards picks that we wouldn't traditionally see. The Poppy, the Leona, the Braum. Now making it work.
I think it went in the kitchen and said, guys, I've been cooking.
I think that's his comfort. I think that's what Dagda meant. Yeah, his comfort is in the kitchen, and it's looking absolutely fantastic. As, okay, Golkar going to connect onto 369 here on the top side as his Mercret, definitely the big one into the Twisted Fate. Broken Blade continuing to have shove, of course, is the Twisted Fate in this lane, so he's going to be feeling pretty happy as Mickey finds Mako. Cream also here, but he really wants to kill this ward, and he will be able to do so. Handshake or no.
Nice handshake from Mako there. Dragon's still yet to be taken, 10 minutes into the game. Very late, very delayed. Typically, we try and see these cross maps as a TP comes into top lane, but shouldn't really result in a huge amount. Oh, yikes.
Still going aggressive here as the gold card should be able to connect, but thankfully the flag and drag was already there for Tien. He makes it out.
You can see Caps has started to lean up towards top side, so that's why G2 were like, hang on a second, we can maybe make this work. Now Cream going to TP back into mid, so Caps, we just clear the wave, more than likely reset, and look for the TP back in himself, because if you give this much control towards Cream in the mid lane, I think Top Esports will immediately start to look at Dragon, although JackeyLove and Mako going for a reset themselves.
Again, we think of Cream as this assassin player, right? He's very well known for his Akali, of course. We've seen him have fantastic performances on the Ahri as well. But against Gen G, it was his Tristana and his Corki that won them games. And so they wanted to have something a little bit more safe in this, like, I say more safe than an Azir. It's probably a poor choice of words. But so far in this lane matchup, he is doing very well. The Grubs have been started off by Top Esports. They've brought their bot lane up to try and fight. Hans is also on his way, but I think G2 is going to be a little too late to the party.
Yeah, but he's slightly too late. Guinsoo's Rage Blade was picked up by Hans Sama, so G2 would love to try and start something, but not going to be the case. Instead, they push out mid and imagine we'll move over towards Dragon.
Exactly, Dacta. I imagine the cross map will come through. Now, Cream with the package does mean that if Top Esports really want to, they can look to try and fight this. Tian looks like he's heading towards the Grom, so it would surprise me if they actually do. Instead, I think the safer play is to just secure that objective and make the trade happen.
Yeah, also a bit surprising that you get to use your package on the first Dragon. Because this Dragon took such a long time to actually be taken down, and he will have that one available still. G2 with control of the bottom side river. See whether Cream can actually get in there and utilize the package to get something done.
Yeah, there could be an argument to leave that package until the Rift Herald in 2 minutes time, but just trying to keep it in sync with the Dragons is...
Well, there is that package that we were talking about. Rocket Jump does get through as there's the gate. Interrupted by Tian, and now Broken Blade, he's going to have to flash if he wants to make it out of this one. He does so, uses the Ghost as well. So he'll survive. Yike takes the Dragon, and there was something about to happen in the mid lane, but with the fact that that gate was not allowed, that is going to mean that Cream will be just fine.
Top Esports are putting a lot of resources into the top side of the map, and traditionally I'd be like, oh, well, K'Sante getting strong is going to do a lot, but when you're up against a Tristana and a Kog'Maw, this percentage health damage, especially from the Kog'Maw, is going to be really tough for this K'Sante to deal with.
Well, more aggression here towards the bottom side of the map. Could be a dive opportunity as the Glacial Fissure does not find its mark. There's the flash knockup though as JackeyLove flashes, get himself out of the way. The bailout comes on through, and he's not going to survive through it. Tien now having to flash, but it's not going to work out for him either because he's just between a rock, a hard place, and then dead. Yike now under the turret, and it's a triple for Hanzo. 6-0-1 on the Kog'Maw. Cream, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything here, and this turret should be in the dust too.
This is a Kog'Maw player's dream. You go up against a Draven and you somehow come out of lane 2,500 gold ahead of them. This Kog'Maw's massive. How the hell do you stop him?
And I remember, because I watched the last time Hans played this Kog'Maw, I was with Dracos, and he was like, no, just wait for 2 items. I don't have to wait for 2 items now. They're almost there.
I'm going to be really honest. I have this image in my head of Hans looking JackeyLove in the eye and saying, say LDR again. Look at the dive. The flash from Yike knocks up, and the chains you see on the JackeyLove. He tries to flash away, but the damage is too good. A great ultimate from Mako, but unfortunately they can't quite get the execute onto Mickey to allow for him to revive and turn the fight around. Caps is able to rotate over first. He then works with his team to secure the kill. He takes the tower aggro, and it's Hans Sama that cleans up with a triple.
It's just great turret aggro.
Yeah, the juggling was incredible.
Now you get to move Caps up towards top side. It's Rift Herald to spawn. You have Hans Sama, as you already pointed out, nearly at 2 items. G2 just get to move over and take that, and this is where I was saying like Cream maybe could have kept the package for this Rift Herald fight, but without that package and JackeyLove being 0-2, it doesn't really feel like you have a real threat when you go over towards this Rift Herald.
It could have almost been worth to actually try and put some pressure on the Dragon as well, given the fact that it was so incredibly late. You can then play around it, but wasn't something they opted into. Tien actually moving towards the top side instead. But maybe miscommunication, something like that, just not quite finding what they needed to. It's now Broken Blade with no flash. I think should be going down here as 269 gets over the Cataclysm wall. And there it is. So the Twisted Fate down once again. They'll trade it for a Rift Herald though, and maybe some more here towards the top side. Glacial Fissure going to be avoided nicely with the Valkyrie from Cream, who does still have to flash to get himself out of the way. Mickey in a bit of trouble now as Yike from the side. This one's a dicey dive, though, if they do want to go for it, and I don't think they will.
I mean, Top Esports is trying to get what they can on the cross map. They're able to push out bot. TP is available onto 369. He is going to invest it into top lane. And now G2 have to respect... Oh, no, actually, it's Cream. My apologies.
Just immediately coming back after getting that health bar back up and available.
Ultimately, like, Top Esports recognize that there's nothing they can do bot, so they're trying their best to shut Broken Blade down. They really have done a great job 369 in the laning phase has been outperforming Broken Blade so far in this series. While Broken Blade could bounce back in the previous game, his passive is not enough in this game to be able to close that gold gap. And it comes back to the question of how big of a problem will this Cassante be? I would argue that Cassante, as difficult as the champion it's been so far at MSI, against a good dog, I don't know. I kind of.
Is Cassante 2,500 gold worth of a problem as the laning massacre?
I mean, also Hans Summit is the goodest of dogs right now.
He is very good. He's a good boy. He's doing a great job.
If only he was actually playing Cogmore.
It doesn't matter. I'm going to give him treats anyway.
But we have Corgi. We could have had Corgi and Cogmore.
We
it would
could
have
have.
been the best.
The lore is real.
That would have been
Danny
great.
needs to go base skin Cogmore. The champion with some of the best skins in the game. All right, well, Mako could be in trouble here. Winter's Bite going to connect, puts up the door. There's the stun, and look at these 80 carries. They just wail on him, and Mako did not stand a chance. Now the Rift Trail comes down to the mid lane. That should be this turret going down as well, and G2's lead is only going to further extend as Top Esports. I think they'll be lucky to defend their inner turret here off the back of this one, as Mickey X, he wants even more. Not going to find the Glacial Fissure once again, though, as Yike will be interrupted. Still, they're not going to go for a re-engage, missing their support.
Yeah, I do love the immediate just, sorry, coming through from Yike as the Rift out disappears and he feels significantly less threatening. But overall, I mean, G2, they get the mid lane tower. Yes, you get a push for 369 on the bottom side, but I don't think it really matters. The only thing is G2 maybe looking for a reset for Blade of the Rune King coming through for the Kog'Maw right before they start to go towards Dragon.
1.8k gold in his back pocket.
Yeah,
and he's going to buy a blade.
So Blade of the Rune King and Ginsu's both completed here at 17 minutes. That's a pretty quick 2-item spike to come in for the Kog'Maw. Not going to be able to get them a Drake, though, because he was back in the shop with Boris. And so the Ocean Drake will be secured. It's a Mountain Soul this game as well. And if Top Esports can take some control back, I'm looking at Cassante, and I'm thinking if there are 3 Mountain Drakes as well, I don't think the 369 will ever die.
I don't know if we're going to get to that stage, though, because with the way that it's positioned now, G2, you're basically moving Mickey back and forth between mid and bot to make sure this package doesn't get value, and it won't.
Well, it is going to be used underneath this turret as Destiny comes on forward. Cream is really dead, guys. Super duper dead.
And I think it's desperation
from
Top Esports.
And there's the ult forward as well from Yike. As Jackie Love, he's going to have to flash. That's not going to save him, though. Gold Cut comes in, and it's another double for Hans Sama. Caps on the top side of the map trying to deal with this massively fed Cassante. He's got the Ghost, and he will get the flash out of Caps.
369, he's TPing.
That's a teleport. He just needs to get himself out of there, I think, is the situation.
Yep, he realizes the collapse is happening. He sees more farm bot lane. 369 is pretty much the only threat on the side of Top Esports as G2 punish what was a huge mistake from Cream. He sees that the package is about to run out. I don't even think he wanted to commit. I think he just wanted to chip down onto Hans Summer's HP, and he did not respect Broken Blade's collapse enough as he ends up losing his life.
And that's why I love the way that Mickey played that setup on the bottom side that I was trying to highlight. Mickey leans into bot to make sure BB can clear out the wave, so that then if this package gets used in mid, you can bring Broken Blade across. And it's G2 protecting both sides of the map, and then immediately being able to pick off Cream as it just was desperation. He wanted to get some value from his package, especially since he used it twice already, but it only leads to 2 more kills going the way of this Kog'Maw.
And more adoration stacks just lying in the dirt. It's 0-3-0 for Jackie Love on his Draven. It's just not working out here as Top Esports just standing there in a bit of a triangle. It confused me a lot.
I mean, I will say that if anyone claims that they expected Hans and Mickey to be bodying this bot lane, they would be a liar.
Yeah.
They have, Hans, Summer and Mickey have pleasantly surprised many with how they've been playing this 2 versus 2. And G2 are going to be more than happy for it, especially given how much criticism Hans Summer has been receiving over the last few days. But again, the game still long, still a lot left to go. And G2, with only a 4k gold lead, while they're in a great position, still need to close this out. We think back to the previous game. Top Esports punished the Baron of G2, and if the gold gap hadn't been as big as it was, that could have been a turnaround fight. We know how resilient Top Esports is, and you've always got to be cautious of their ability to fight their way back into games.
The thing that I really like about the state of the game for G2 right now is, though, their 1-3-1 is well and truly in effect. They've got 2 of the greatest champions for side lane play in the Twisted Fate and the Tristana, and so they just need to make sure that Top Esports don't take Baron themselves, and they will just generally win.
369 is making part of that ineffective though because of how strong he is.
He is very
going
strong.
against Caps, going up against BB is fine, but I like what G2 are doing. They know that 369 doesn't have the teleport, so they are like, right, if we just hover in around the vision control that we've set up in Baron area, 369 has to roam. Great, that opens up Caps to now pushing on the bottom side, so I feel Top Esports may actually just start up this Baron to try and get Caps to join them in this area.
Well, Caps already moving towards that mid lane, as we could see, but no, decides against it. He's going to try and take down this outer turret, continue the pressure for G2 as JackeyLove will push this wave into the outer turret in mid. Finally, a Glacial Fissure is going to land onto JackeyLove, and there are the stacks. Yike comes in, finds the Prey Seeker, and there is the ulti to finish it off. And JackeyLove can't catch a break this game.
Misstep after misstep from Top Esports. Overextensions in G2 is incredibly quick to punish. Also, does Mickey have a homing beacon on this queue? Because this man does not miss.
I was going to say, I didn't know Braum was an engaged champion. This guy is just
not.
finding it consistent.
I really hope that Kerry isn't watching this. He's not an engaged champion, okay? As Top Esports now looking to try and stop this Baron, but it's going down so incredibly fast. G2 looking for the turn. Destiny does come on through as there is Mickey taking down 369. The biggest threat on the team is Tien. I'm not sure about that Cataclysm, but he wants to try and deny a Baron. He takes forever to go down, but he will be taken out in the end. The Baron's secured. The Whirling Death does absolutely nothing, and G2 will not be stopped.
Even Cream is trying to get into the middle of the Baron pit to steal away something, but G2, they're cool, they're calm, they're collected. The dog is spitting all over Top Esports, and there's nothing that they can do about it.
Game 2 in a series against Top Esports, and G2 are dominating in clean fashion. An expectation that is being defied. JackeyLove, he can't kill that last minion in time. And Mickey, that's all he needs. That is the bridge for his engage. Yike says, you know what, Hans, you've got enough. I'll take this one. Let's balance the scores out a little bit as it sets up for the Baron.
10-0-4 on this Kog'Maw. And I've always thought of Kog'Maw as one of those more scaling champions that does a lot of damage in the late game. Apparently that's not how it is. You just kind of slaughter everyone all the time.
And 2-0-12 for Mickey, 100% kill participation for this bot lane. An incredible glow up from this series.
You know it's going well when your support has the same amount of items as your mid laner. You know, that's when you know the game is in a great spot.
It's crazy. I am dumbfounded right now at the level of play we're seeing from G2.
And it's a completely different draft. Outside of the Tristana, it's a completely different draft from what we saw in game number 1. But it's still a very similar shellacking coming on through here as they're now pushing on this inhibitor turret towards the bottom side. Cream trying to do what he can. The Glacial Fissure goes wide. They do try and get themselves out of there. That is a turret going down on the top side, but it means the Cassante isn't here. The most important member of this team. He's now going to have to look for a back angle to try and save this inhibitor, but it's not going to work out. This is definitely dead, but can G2 get more is the question. Mid lane inhibitor turret has been set up as the flash forward from Mickey once again gets the package onto JackeyLove. He blocks the Whirling Death as well, and now G2 are looking to get themselves out. They'll burrow, they'll rocket jump, and they'll be just fine. As Tien looking for his opportunity. Let's see whether he can find at least a target to try and focus on, but Cream's already down to 50%. The Buster Shot, too good from Caps, and the is being placed. Massive damage to come out here, and the Kog'Maw is spitting mad onto Top Esports. This might just be it. JackeyLove just explodes, and Mickey, he's immortal.
5 alive for G2, 5 dead on the side of Top Esports. Just like that, 24 minutes, 30 seconds, G2 will wipe out Top Esports.
Wow.
What was that?
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. G2.
12-0-7. If there's ever a way to silence the doubters, Hans Sommer, that is the best way you can do it. Utter domination from G2 in game 2. And as long as they don't get complacent, I mean, I know as a different region,
I was hoping for a banger series, but I mean, this is a banger series, but I didn't expect this bad of a stop. We'll be back with game 3. We're back for the game 3 draft. Already Super Spice.
Jungle pressure going to be denied here for the moment. We'll see whether it stays towards Tien as far as those jungle bans are concerned.
I mean, bear in mind, Vi has just been ignored this series.
Yeah, the whole series.
Right? These teams do not care. The Rek'Sai has been left up. I guess top
I don't think Vi would do
didn't really
much.
consider it that much of a threat. Yike didn't have a massive impact in the early game, but we saw in some of those fights how strong it could be.
I like this from G2.
Yeah, just ban both sides of the equation. The Jax ban is alluding that it wants to pick
Oh,
but they're going to
okay.
take the Rek'Sai instead. Rek'Sai top has been heavily nerfed, so I'm assuming this is for Tien, right?
It has to be jungle. And I mean, the beauty is there's still that flexibility of the Camille. It's not entirely sure where it's going for G2. So if they do blind pick something like the Cassante, 369 can always move it over towards the top lane.
See exactly where they do decide to go as the Ivern. He made it through once again, and that is what Yike is going to be taking into the jungle. See what Mickey is going to take away for Broken Blade, and it looks like it's just going to be the Cassante. A little bit more of a stock standard front-to-back composition here from G2, still with those two marksmen that can help the Ivern in the mid-game. Now, where is the Camille going, and what is 369 going to be playing? That's the question.
This is tense. G2 have definitely cooked a little once again in this draft.
Oh,
it
no,
looks like we're getting a tank top, gentlemen.
This is a classic. We have seen Udyr, I believe, one other time. It was not great here at MSI.
PSG Azure.
Yeah, and it just didn't really do too much. Azure's win rate on the champion was also absurdly high. Wasn't able to get across the line. This time around, though, it's being wielded by 369. We'll see what TES are going to be able to do with it.
I don't mind the pick specifically into the Cassante. You get a good matchup there. You can like crash fourth wave, get a reset,
But
all that good jazz. But in the grand scheme of what you want from your composition, I just don't think the Udyr is it. Trying to run into Nico, Ivern, Tristana, that is going to
Now, if this is a 3-0, this will be a convincing 3-0.
You are heavily reliant on this bot lane getting ahead, or it feels like you just run.
And Jackie Love loses lane again for the first time in a row. The series. It's over. It's over, and Europe advances to the loser finals.
You know, there's been a pep talk for Jackie Love and Mako, and they can actually come and perform at the level that we know they're capable of. Moving here into game number 3 and salvaging this series from what could be a 3-0 for G2.
I will say that there is a lot of dive threat onto Hansama. You know, Camille, Rek'Sai, you've got the package from Corki. Udyr's movement speed is going to be something you have to navigate through. While, of course, there is the Ivern to offer that protection, I think it's going to be a little harder based on the compositions we've seen in the prior, compared to the prior series, where they can actually threaten this Draven. But as you rightly said, maybe that doesn't matter because the laning phase is where a lot of this has been determined. The bot lane dominance from Hans and Mickey has really what's been the snowball catalyst to allow G2 to dominate in this series so far.
Some different looks in these drafts. Every time it has been a different game plan, especially from G2. It is once again the Ivern. That is one similarity. And the Tristana still in the hands of Caps. This is going to work very differently as far as these 5v5s matching up together, though. Top Esports, this is their last shot at it. They're going to turn around the series. It has to start now. The Gyos absolutely exploding here in Chengdu, and you can tell these fans also want to get more out of this series.
Oh, they certainly do. They want to see Top Esports succeed still. But G2, the way that they've been playing this series, it does more than just... I mean, domestically, it's been a long time since any European team has been able to, let alone go toe-to-toe. The fact that they could take a series in 3-0 would be massive for the region.
Well, Mako going to find himself a hook shot, but that he doesn't have very many more buttons. So
but
back away.
In terms of winning 3-0 here, if they manage it, it would give hope to the possibility of contesting the top spots here at MSI, a possibility that I think many European fans didn't think was a reality coming into this tournament.
But this doesn't feel real for, like, when you look at this G2, this is not the G2 that we saw domestically, where there was mistakes in the early game, people getting caught out. This has been a significantly cleaner G2 that we've seen in MSI. And as you say, Betty, when Top Esports pushed Gen G to 5 games, pushed BLG consistently domestically, and now G2 contesting the potential 3-0, it feels like G2 have really risen above what they showed domestically and are now willing and ready to challenge on an international stage.
And Top Esports as an organization has been longing to fight for top spots on the international stage as an LPL representative. I know that Tian gets a lot of stigma from the fans when it comes to his international performances, and being able to reverse sweep here against the European first seed would be monumental for them still. I will not count Top Esports out, especially after their series against Gen G. We'll see how things play out.
And if they do manage to get the reverse sweep, it will be the first time that G2 has been reverse swept. So that could be another, internationally, sorry. That could be another thing that Tian could put under his belt.
And I think for Top Esports is trying to silence a lot of what has been an unfortunate steps for them on the international stage. When you look at, when it came to GAM in Worlds 2022, not the best of showings. Yes, they got the semi-finals at Worlds 2021, but it was, dropping to Suning, who 2020, sorry, where they were supposed to beat them. They were supposed to go on ahead, but they just could not find that success. And now G2 staring ahead, but Mako wants to try and change that against Caps.
Yeah, looking for that angle. Caps down to 400 as the hook shot will get the stun. Good buffer. And Caps is still burning, but he is not going to go down. We'll have to back a little bit earlier than he otherwise would have wanted, as 369 just doing some Udyr things on this top side.
I don't understand how Caps just buffers every skill.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like, it's like he sat in practice tool and he's just looked at all of the skills in the game and he's like, I know how to buffer all of these now.
I do love the idea of him sitting in the middle and all 4 other members of G2 throw things. Get used to buffers.
Well, Tian going to take a fair bit of damage here as Yike coming out of the brush that he just created for himself.
Top Crab is still available. Yike, of course, didn't have the smite, neither did Tian, so there wasn't really much he could do about it, especially on the Ivern. Playing defensively for the time being. Wants to be on the bot side of the map, though, just because of the lane state. Hans needs to be careful. But they've spotted Tian moving away, which means that the likelihood of a gank, and that ward coming through from Mickey should make Hans Sommer feel safe enough to push this underneath the tower and likely get a reset in the near future.
Yeah, should be able to make that one work. And Tian, he's on that top side of the map. I believe Yike will be able to get some vision. Yet now definitely knows that the Rek'Sai is in the area. Finding the trigger seed there as well. Very nicely done. He should be able to now very calmly and non-violently take down this Rift Scuttler. Broken Blade on the top side, just dealing with 369 shenanigans. And this is what the Udyr is supposed to do. We didn't see the Udyr doing it last time we saw it here at MSI, but you should always have shove and be able to continually get control of that wave. Something that 369 is doing very well so far. But not being able to deny too much from Broken Blade, who's been able to keep up in farm very nicely as another wave crashes into the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think this for G2 is kind of a, hey, we want to let... Oh, wait a sec.
Yeah, there's a hook shot once again as Hans Sommer could be in trouble. The exhaust has to be used onto Mako. And that's understandable. Level 4. And is very scary as now Jackalove with so many sticks into Mickey. He's going to have to flash, but there's a flash after him. And now First Blood goes the other way. And Jackalove will pick up a double. Draven still managing to get a kill there as the trigger seed landing on this bottom side. Jackalove going to have to try and get out of here, as I don't think Yike has much left in the tank, and so Jackalove will be just fine.
Now there is the bot lane of Top Esports that everyone was expecting. A great punish as Hans and Mickey tried to push another wave underneath the tower. Mako's Ignite wasn't even back off cooldown yet, but they knew in the extended trade they could come out on top.
Also getting the Adoration stacks off of the Draven before Mako goes down is huge, but great engage from Mako here, and this is the threat of this Camille. The damage with the Halo Blades in the early stages is absolutely absurd, and then again, great read here. Jackalove getting a ton of damage, so Mako just flashes in to get the stack and get a hit, and then they get to follow up. But Hans Sommer dying before the terror shot means those Adoration stacks go to nil.
And in the meantime, there's more of a battle here as Mako going aggressive onto Caps yet again. Mickey able to come in and at least make it even, but they get the flash out of the Tristana.
Mako making moves on the map. His second appearance in the mid lane, putting that extra pressure down onto this Tristana. No flash going to be lost for Cream, but Caps losing that flash. You can see how the early game dynamic is very much shifting away from G2 in this game 3.
And a lot of that, what we saw from Top Esports against Gen G, was Mako starting that comeback. When he came into game 3, was bringing out the Alistar, having this insane performance. But
there's the all-out special delivery of the Udyr towards Yike, who will be able to land the stun. Follows up as well as now 369. I don't think he's going to have anywhere to go. Does have the Ghost running, but Broken Blade will be able to keep up. Finds the Q and finds the kill.
Nicely done by Broken Blade to get the knockback right as Yike is there. Void Grubs will still go the way of Top Esports, but a big win for Broken Blade on that top side, just getting some much needed gold and some much needed help in that bad matchup.
I feel like this is just the same game 2? Didn't we? Bot lane, double kill, Cassante getting a kill with a gank top lane, gold relatively even. This is very familiar. Yike now making his presence known in the bot lane. Corki has the push in mid.
Well, Mako and Jackie Love look like they're just going to try and exit this one.
Oh, the cannon minion tech from Mickey, drawing aggro, turning into a minion so he can tank a few more tower shots. But they just walk away with the plate. And now look at the goal difference in bot lane, actually neutralized, even though Jackie Love has a 2-kill advantage.
Also, Mickey, I think, running the Demolish there as well. So if you can get some of those shots off and they can continue to push in the wave, they can look to start playing off of these turret plates. As the word backing on the minimap broke my brain for a second, but it's going to be Mickey making his way back to base.
Yeah, one of those things as 369 now just trying to farm between these turrets. Broken Blade going to have to get back and we'll be able to clear this one out. But more plates going down and the Udyr doing exactly what it says on the tin despite that death. Now has those plated steel caps completed. Yike going to be spotted with the Tremor Sense here as Tien gets that information. Good side steps from Caps on these rockets. Says, okay, Tien looks for an opportunity. Doesn't actually go in though. They spot the Ivan moving over. Nice little shield there as Caps will be absolutely fine.
Just one of my favorite things to watch with Caps is many players around the world will often test him. You know, a lot of people would have W'd there or hesitated at the risk of a potential flash. But no, he holds his ground. He only really saves those things to the last moment. Sometimes he plays his limits too far and he gets solo killed by a Corki. But you know, that is the pros and cons of Caps. Sometimes you get craps, sometimes you get claps. And overall, he is having an incredible tournament.
He certainly is. Now taking a fair bit of damage here in this mid lane as Mako turns up, finds the Hex Tech sweep as now Yike not going to be able to get the stun. Good buster shot on Mako. Yeah, he's up the creek and he does not have a paddle. That is going to be the first kill for Caps. He's on the board.
This time around, Vetty, he baits them in perfectly with the jump and the shield coming through, and even having Mickey as a cohort in that play as well. Nicely done by G2. I can see Tien waiting up the side, but round 2.
All out does come on through here from Broken Blade as 369 in trouble. And the Casante's got a few more buttons in the tank and we'll be able to get that dash on over. Q gonna connect, and that should spell the end of 369. The Udyr just not working.
A bit of redemption for Broken Blade. Ooh, the ultimate from Hansama almost connecting onto Cream. But we think back to the fact that Jackie Love was able to get a 2-kill lead in this bottom lane. But it's not quite snowballing in the same way that we saw from G2 in the previous series.
Because they're never bot. Like, Mago's never bot. The difference was, when the Kog'Maw got fed, everyone was playing around the Kog'Maw. Now they're just making sure that Caps has a Caps game.
But this is the way a lot of people saw this series going coming into it was, look, Jackie Love and Mako more than likely going to win out in the 2v2, but it's the top side that is going to be the main focus. And the question was, what does 369 look like? But BB, despite the poor matchup in the early stage and fall behind, that first gank, giving him much needed gold, giving him the little bit of resistance as he needed, and now he's able to go toe-to-toe with 369, pulling him in behind the tower. And this is where, if G2 could continue this pressure, you've got a massive Cassante that, realistically, Jackie Love on lethality Kalista won't be able to deal with.
Top Esports still with the control over these neutral objectives, though. They've gotten the first 3 grubs of the game. They're going to secure the first dragon to boot. A relatively late one.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's just a camp deck break.
Because they are more of a scaling composition when you're running double AD carry with the Ivern. You want more time to generate.
And sure, the like 2% heal shield is good on Kemi, Udyr, and Tien, but doesn't do anything for Corki.
Dragon going to be off the card, so this is going to be a pretty valuable soul when it does come up and available. And G2 though, at the moment,
Cloud Dragon would be insane for
I think
G2.
Going back to, hey, let's just try and keep BB in the matchup now that he's winning. Cap's fine, but Tien wants to change that.
Yep, Tien going a bit aggressive. We'll take a few autos as Caps follows him. Yike turns up to the mid lane to make it a 2v2, and Tien is just going to back away.
But this is the thing, I think G2 are hitting a point where they are very comfortable in these matchups. As Green going to be in trouble.
Gonna have to use that Valkyrie, does use it to get himself out of dodge, but still gonna lose out on the trade. It's good shield from Yike, makes sure that Caps is absolutely fine. Tien does have flash available, not gonna go for it though, looking for the knock up onto the Tristana.
Mako had started to roam up, you can see he was spotted just on him, war displaced by the blue buff, so gonna be able to back away instead. They don't want to try and take that fight, but no, it happens again.
Yeah, BB, it's, all right, I've seen this one before. This time he's going to bring him underneath the turret. Yike is also there to try and help out. Ghost getting 369 a bit of distance here, but BB's still going to find that Q. Another snare is going to connect, and Daisy now comes out. And 369, surely that Ghost is going to run out relatively soon. Does get to the safety of his turret, though, and Daisy, she will unfortunately run out of health. TN not able to help with the play either, though.
This should be able to secure the grubs for G2. I say that, though. Tian has just come over the wall. He's looking to fight Yike. Of course he is. Yike can't really do much in the dueling. Caps forced to bait, has the TP available, choosing not to invest it just yet. I stand corrected. Top Esports still feeling confident to secure these grubs. With Cream back out onto the map and having the package available, further objectives will be secured. Top Esports still in good control of this early game.
The reset from Hansama and Mickey later than Jackie Love and Mako, so Top Esports know that they would have had the reinforcements coming through quicker, so they managed to force that play through with 369 teleporting in. BB still hasn't gone for his reset.
It's a little sad that G2 didn't get a single grub, but it's fine.
At least spend some of that gold that he's gotten off a small lead for himself.
I mean, Broken Blade is
a lot more about team
huge,
fighting,
but it takes no
what we've seen
damage.
in the previous games. Early domination was the name of the game for G2, largely driven by their bot lane, but with a much more neutral mid-game state. We'll see how things transition as we now see the swaps coming out from both sides.
But this is where I think Top Esports just don't have anyone to really deal with the Kazante. We saw a lot of teams...
Yeah, the Kazante has his one.
Hang on.
Yeah, Mickey looks for it, gets the flash out of Cream. And Jackie Love and Mako moving down towards this bottom side. Not going to be catching G2 unawares this time around, though, as the PS does a fair bit of damage, but not enough to really do anything here. So we're back to an honest 2v2.
Yeah, I think this is where, though, like, Jackie Love will be fine. Hang on, maybe I don't make this point anymore.
Yeah. Nice little knock up there, as Tien not going to invest the ulti or anything like that. He's now looking to burrow his way back, but Caps should be fine. Buster shot still up and available, and now there's the Void Rush. Caps gonna have to flash, gets himself out of the way, and Yike is once again there to be the savior for his mid laner. Still a lot invested here for G2 to keep Caps alive.
Yike has had a fantastic tournament, consistently in the places that he needs to be. Will lose out here because that health bar was whittled down, but just needs to make sure there's nothing following him, as that fake Nico checks that Tian is still in the bush, and Top Esports at least will back away.
Yeah, Daisy gets amongst it. She has a health bar, even if Yike doesn't. Caps going to teleport back to lane. Will help pick up all of that CS. Now Mickey could be in trouble. Hookshot comes down. There's a Hextech ultimatum. And they just execute the Nico. Once again, Daisy comes in, but she's a little bit too late. Unless Mako doesn't have anything left. Whirling Death comes down. Nice little knock-up from Daisy from beyond the grave. Still not going to be able to get the kill on the Camille.
Glacial Augment almost slowing Mako enough to allow for the run back of Hansama's ultimate to secure that kill. But a mistake there from Mickey. He tries to bait his opponents in, but it's G2 are not in a good position to punish that aggression. Top Esports find themselves another kill. Interrupt doesn't quite come through from Jackie Love. But I think one of the biggest discrepancies we've seen is Tian has a pretty healthy lead. The question is, does that lead matter? Can this Rek'Sai really do anything with the advantage that he's been able to gain over Yike? Because again, you've got to remember that this champion is a support, right? The whole responsibility of Yike in this game is not to be a massive carry, it's to help his carries. And as long as Caps and Hansam are in a good spot, he's happy.
Well, Mickey once again in trouble, gonna have to flash this time around. Mako gonna hook shot forward, but not gonna invest too much more. Does have his flash available as well.
You do have to be careful.
Drake just up.
You have to be careful as G2. You're not really in a position to fight for this, and the lack of vision is going to make it very tough. Mickey having no flash as well means he's way less threatening in one of these fights. So Caps at least getting push in mid does dissuade Top Esports a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Top try and force this Dragon with 369 our TP coming up relatively soon.
I mean, I will say that Top Esports have had impeccable control over the neutrals thanks to Tian's play. G2's looking to get a little bit feisty around this objective. Items have started to come through. The Muramana finished for Cream as Jackie Love gets the push in mid. Cream is likely going to go and answer by catching that bot wave, but Top Esports doing a solid job in this early game. Again, we talked about it. It's going to come down to the execution of these fights. How well can Hansama survive? Do G2 have enough frontline damage to be able to get through the tanks of Tian and 369? And how much of a problem is Cream going to be? Long-range poke. We know I mean, we've seen it from Cream, we've seen it from Chovy. This champion can be obnoxious and deal a lot of damage once it gets the required items.
I think it's just BB is going to be such an issue. The fact you've got this massive lead against the UD here, you can see the Mastercard lane economy snapshot, 400 gold lead. He's going to be able to already have the Cane of Broker and then go the Iceborne Gauntlet off, I imagine, a near in time reset. And from that point on, I just don't see Callista really dealing with you. So it comes down to Cream essentially to try and kill BB, which is going to be such a daunting task for this core.
Well, the other question is, can Broken Blade even get in range, right? Corki, very long-range champion, a lot of poke at his disposal. The engage tools of G2 aren't actually the easiest. They'd much rather you come into them, right? Which is the advantage of Tian, Udyr, Camille, all very big diving champions. They want to come into you. So maybe this is something that this K'Sante can leverage as we approach the mid to late game.
Well, Mako now looking for a potential dive angle. Mickey down here towards the bottom side, pretending to be Yike. And that is going to be enough to deter top esports. Still, G2 not going to find anything back off the other end of it. Caps gets a ward in. We'll be able to take down that control ward as the real Yike also going to show up. Summer in the mid lane just trying to defend as Jackie Love continues to push wave after wave in there. The goal difference, only about 600, barely anything between these two, and it's a much better look for top esports. As another Q back there from Broken Blade, but 369 just caring less and less, it feels like, as we're having a look at it in the picture-in-picture. Put that one away, though. The wet noodles don't necessarily need to be observed right now. 2
towers to 0, top esports. Building small but significant advantages as they gain more control over the map. They did concede that last dragon, but it's going to be a Hextech Soul. One of the most powerful, if not the most powerful soul that exists in the game right now. The Herald also available, and it's top esports that have
the lethality Kalista is such a
nice
shame.
reset coming through. They've been able to push in these waves.
Serpent's Fang's second item,
start
crazy.
This one off. Caps is still sitting in the bot lane, but of course does have the TP. I don't know if G2 feel confident enough to try and fight this early on, though.
Don't know whether they have enough information as Mickey does get his clone into that brush. Control ward's still going to be there, though, for top esports.
Yeah,
just going to give it up.
Just going to give it up. The reset coming through from BB as well. He just, well, I imagine picked up his Spice Foreign Continent, so they're not really looking to fight right now, and more than likely be for the next dragon where they try and look towards it. But especially with 2 items completed there for Jackie Love and a lot more coming through, I think it's the right call for G2.
Well, Mickey trying to be tricky here, but yeah, the minion is just going to lose interest in being with the herd. That is going to give away his position. Jackie just clearing out wave after wave. And it's this sort of slowdown that I do get a little bit worried about for G2, because the acceleration of the pace of the game has been very prevalent in the last 2 games.
This time
around, though, we're playing more to the tune of top esports.
Definitely feels like it.
And support Kemi is definitely not a late game champion.
Whether they've been moving around the map, I think a lot of it is just because Tian is so much stronger than Yike is, pretty much throughout the early to mid game, and so G2 have deliberately avoided trying to fight. We look at the number of stacks, that's 400 Hans Sammer has now ticked over to. If he's able to cash that out, that's going to be a pretty significant gold swing, but that's why, again, we've been building it up. The team fights are where this game is going to be determined. Can G2 execute a proper fight, or will they fall short to top esports here?
Oh, BB a little bit aggressive in his positioning here, chasing after Cream, but he can absorb quite a few of these rockets. Doesn't quite find the Q there as he gets rid of one of these tunnels. G2 still just testing the waters, seeing where they're allowed to go on this map right now, as Cream gonna have to Valkyrie to get out of the way of BB, and now Tien diving forward, doesn't quite find his opportunity as the Rift Herald heads down towards that bottom side. They've got one of their own, though, in Daisy, who will pop up and try and do some damage back. Rift Herald's going to be able to take that one down. There's the flash. Pop Blossom only onto one, but Tien still going to have to flash to get himself out of the way. And now the Fate's Call onto Mako. He's going to dive in. They take down Mickey. Hextech Ultimatum comes in as well as Broken Blade goes all out. But Ansama, he'll cash in. That's so much money.
1100 gold!
And they lose the turret, but they cash in on their Draven.
1 for 1, but a 1,120 gold cash out for Hans Sammer, sitting on the Infinity Edge as well. They might not be done the flank TP.
Yeah, Yike looking for that opportunity. The Valkyrie not going to quite be enough here. He does still have the flash available as Broken Blade. He can tank this one up for as long as he wants. That flash was not exactly the one they were looking for, as BB still tanking it up, and it's another shutdown going over to Hans Sammer.
Right before the
Hans Sammer,
these punishing picks. 369 still pushing in against Caps, though. Caps will need a reset before this dragon really becomes a factor, but 369 hovering.
I will say that fight, I think, was well played by top esports overall. I got worried for Tian, but a very quick flash takes him away to safety. But once the fight kind of broke out, Hans Sammer's positioning was good enough that he could able to turn the kill around Nice initiation, but a great ulti from Jackula brings his support to safety, but he gets rooted up. So
and Tian didn't flash there, he was dead.
Mako then finds himself a little isolated, but with Tian, they're able to lock down Mickey and get that kill. Another nice ulti from Mako looks promising as he tries to keep Broken Blade isolated.
Yeah,
but then
sorry, it's an execute because G2 Hansama had more stacks than Mako had HP, and that was the big change.
LDR secured for Hansama.
And it was basically for free, because he gets the cash in and uses all of that gold. 3 items now completed, and his are a little more expensive than what Jackula has put together himself. Once again going for the Serpent's Fang, a fair few shields, especially coming from Yike on this Ivan. It's almost like the Ivan tax that you have to pay.
And the thing is, if you actually get into a fight that's the 4 versus 4, there's not really a big tank, right? Yes, you've got Tien, he's gone for the Titanic Hydra, he'll have some health. But Hansama can really just tear through people with the 3 items that he's managed to pick up. So this Draven, very, very scary right now. And this might put a little bit of a dent into what top esports want to do. I think we're going to see them more go for this hit and run style, which is
Kasante is
start
huge.
to try and get some vision control so we can look for isolated 1v1s or 2v2s rather than going up against this Draven.
Well, once again, it's Caps trying to match 369 here in this side lane. Gonna have to get himself out of the way here as the very angry Udyr will send another minion wave towards the Tristana.
You can see how tanky 369 really is. He is an absolute beast right now. Armor penetration is going to be required due to the lack of AP damage coming out from the side of the
Yeah, well, once the LDR comes out from Caps...
comps haven't really been punished at MSI. We'll see if this could be the first. Hans doesn't know that Tian's there.
Yeah. They have control vision in the area as now the Pop Blossom is going to be used onto Jackula. He gets snared, but in the meantime, Hansama, he has to flash into the Baron pit. He's alive for a while, but there is the Void Rush. Broken Blade will be able to take down Cream, though, and they're running out of damage on the side of top esports. Caps is going to go down as well, though, and it's a 3 versus 3. Broken Blade, realizing he's the last one that can really do too much. He takes down Mako. 3 versus 2 now. Tien and 369 trying to get something done, but I don't think 369 is going to be able to do it. Tien also realizing he cannot offer anything in the fight, and the knockback onto this Udyr who just cannot do it. He'll get knocked up, Daisy gets involved. It took a while, and they take him down, and G2 win the fight.
BB stands for big boy in this case.
How do you kill the Kasante? How? Bro, he ulted the Corki away from the fight. He gave no fucks. Bro, the second the Corki is dead, there ain't no way Kasante dies. Holy shit. That was beautiful. Look, isolate. Okay, sure, Hansama gets Mucker Truckered, but Yike, solo kills.
Who then both get taken out by top laners, and then it's just again the battle of top lane. I did not expect these fights to devolve into just Broken Blade versus 369, but this Kasante is just tearing top esports apart.
369 is definitely L69 right now. Cause like, damn, bro. What a fall from grace 369 had. Yo, bro, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. What happened to the god of top lane in 369? When he was on JDG, bro, he was feared. Like, you disrespect him, you lose.
But they're making it look easy as
Good I play-by-play this one?
Is anyone taking damage? I can't.
Is anyone?
Do they see the shields?
I mean, they're padding their DPS stats. I get it. I get it. I mean, I think Broken Blade is winning.
I think so too. But I don't know whether...
Is anyone really winning here?
We are the viewers.
The viewers, that's a good point. Thank you, Atlas. TP?
Oh my god.
All right,
wait, no, TP on 369!
Yeah, he's just going to teleport right in there, and 369 he can run pretty quick, but I don't think he can run fast enough.
They got to keep Tian out of the pit.
Comes down as well, exactly right. It's all about this Rek'Sai and his positioning. They know exactly where he is. Now, can they find it? There's no package. Oh, either, and there it is! It's going to be secured by Yike, and now top esports, what are they going to do? They want to try and get rid of these Barons, but they can't do anything about it, and finally 369 turns up, but it doesn't mean anything, the Baron's gone.
35 seconds until Dragon as well, G2, that is a massive pickup. That might have just been the play that breaks open top esports.
The mid game The thing that they've been talking about this whole year that they wanted to improve, that right there was a perfect example of it. Broken Blade just trading with 369. They knew the timers, they were setting up for the Baron that whole time. And then they're able to sneak it away. A great ultimate from Caps to keep Tian away from the steal, and now the siege begins.
Again, has to burrow his way up. They're not going to be able to take this inner turret just yet, but with the Dragon spawning, I think G2 are probably wanting to get a Hextech Drake of their own. Cream does now have the package. G2 is so much positional advantage.
And Top Esports did get to reset, but the Dragon already taken. Mickey spotted. Top Esports want the fight.
Yeah, Mickey, they are going to find the right one here as Tian may have chased a little bit too far, taking so much burst damage as now Daisy gets in amongst Cream. What was that? He's just going to get executed by the Draven. They'll take their turn, they'll take a Dragon, they'll take a mid laner.
Yo, what happened?
Spend that money.
The
What happened,
desperation
Cream?
is starting to set in for Top Esports. They can feel the game slipping away. A 3-0 for G2 is on the horizon as Hans Sommer secures himself his 4th kill of the game.
I can't believe what we're watching. G2 on the brink of a 3-0 win against the LPL 2nd seed. G2 marching down the bot lane. It's still a minute left on this Baron buff. They will not let up.
And without Cream, it's going to be so hard to defend. This inhibitor turret should be going down. And look at Broken Blade. It's exactly what you were talking about, Dagda. He is impossible to stop. His health bar just keeps going. The inhibitor will be taken down here, and G2, they're poised for the 3-0.
They have the Nexus in their eyes. They're not gonna stop. This
Cream only just respawned and will now be just executed on the fountain. There is another one for Hans Sommer.
Whoa! What a series, bro! I cannot believe.
About revenge for G2 in Tian's home turf. They will take down Top Esports and knock them out of the tournament.
This was not the way today was supposed to go. This was not what was supposed to happen for Top Esports.
The Nexus will finally get focused, but I think G2 want a few extra kills. Caps grabs one as Cream's back in the death chamber. There goes Tien. It's a double for the Triss. Make it a triple.
FPX! Wow, yo, the disrespect! Let's go!
G2 just 3-0 Top Esports.
Holy shit!
An incredible series from Europe's first